Hi everyone, welcome back to Wonder Witness and Witchcraft. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a book haul slash review of some of the things, some of the ones that I've read. Now these books were actually gifted to me by someone who used to practice, a friend of mine who used to practice. We practiced together a little bit for a couple of years. We practiced together, but her path has taken a different turn, which is fine, um, which is perfectly fine. So she gave me quite a few of her old books. So I just thought I'd kind of show you guys, and you will just kind of go through them and let me know what you think, because some of them I haven't completely read. I've flicked through. So if you have read any of the books, please do let me know what you think about them. So the first one is Teen Witch by Silver Ravenwolf. Now, I don't know a lot about Silver Ravenwolf. This is the first book that I've read of hers, but I have heard a few opposing views as to the way she writes. Now, this is teen witchcraft. Now, when was it first published? I like to look at when these things were first. So, 2010? Oh no, 1998. Okay. Okay. So this was first published 1998. So that was actually the year after I was born. So this book here is 19 years old. You can tell that it's a little aged. The things that is kind of spoken about, the way that she words things and then kind of talks to her target audience. I don't know whether I would call it condescending, but I don't quite enjoy it. And it is very much a stereotypical teen approach to witchcraft. So just kind of flicking through now. It's very it seems to be quite Wiccan based. But it doesn't really say, but it is a little bit more Wiccan based. So I don't know how I feel about this book really in particular. I think it's good. I mean, there's a lot of spells at the back. If I was going to do any of these spells, I would probably change and alter them to suit my personal craft and my personal needs. I haven't come across a spell in here I haven't actually had the need to look for a spell in here to find and to do. So I don't know how I feel about them yet. But I mean, there's one chapter called Fun Spells, so there's bad bus driver 4 element spell. Oh, my computer's okay. There we are. Hi guys. Jumpstart balloon spell, rainbow curfew spell. I'm just not sure if I'm completely convinced about this book. For someone who is probably fresh and new coming into the craft, it might actually be a good book because she does cover a lot of topics in here, which I think is probably would be good for the teens coming into the craft. But I wouldn't say, here, learn from this as your only source. I'd give them this and a whole stack of other books. Probably just a stack of other books. So that's Teen Witch. Now this other one is The Real Witch's Garden by Kate West. And this is actually a beautiful looking book. And it focuses very strongly on plant magic, herbs, the whole idea of, you know, garden witchcraft, and, you know, the things you can use in your craft are just out in your garden, how to create a magical garden just for magical workings, and things like that. Creating you know, sacred spaces outdoors, which I think is really great. She's got a whole chapter on like a medicinal garden. She's got a whole chapter on the magical garden, the seasonal garden. So she goes through, you know, all the seasonal holidays, and the Sabbats, and she does actually have, you know, rituals and things and spells in here as well to do that are, you know, kind of central around the garden, the magic of the garden. She's also got a chapter on indoor gardens, which would be good, you know, for people living in apartment buildings or small units. And she's got, you know, lunar gardening, you know, lots of stuff. It's a really really good. She does have a really strong kind of connection with nature. So if you are a witch that, you know, wants to get a witch with a green thumb, I would highly recommend this book. It's really, really great. Yeah, really, just a really kind of interesting kind of, you know, something that you wouldn't necessarily think about, but no, really great. She's also got another book called The Real Witch's Kitchen. So she must be a you know, a kitchen witch or a hedge witch or, you know, something like that. But and it's quite a, you know, a decent sized book. You can see the type is quite small, so she does fit a lot of info in here, which is really, really good. Now I've got some Cunningham books. I was gifted 3 Cunningham books. Magical Herbalism. So this is, you know, the classic introduction to magical herbalism. I believe I have the like updated version of this book. I haven't given this a good read yet either, but from what I can kind of gather, it's very similar to that of Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. The fact that he does go through, you know, the list of herbs, which was one that I've had for years, the encyclopedia, but this one was gifted to me. So I think that that's what it is. I'll have to give it a good kind of read, but at the front, the first, what do we see? The first kind of it looks like roughly the first 100 pages. 120 pages is kind of on different kind of information. Let me just have a look at the... Excuse me. Yeah, so part 1 is titled Preparations. Part 2, Herbal Secrets. And that goes through healing, protection, love, incense, amulets. Part 3 is the Magical Garden, so that's kind of taking off from the Witch's Garden. And then there's Appendices, which goes through, lists all your herbs and their properties and things like that. The next one I got... Oh, excuse me. The next one is Earth, Air, Fire, Water by Scott Cunningham. I will actually be interested in reading this because I do like working with the elements, and it goes through different ways for you to work with the different elements. So, for example, earth power, air power, fire power, water power, stone magic, magnet magic, candle, star, snow, ice, mirror, wishing well, sea magic. So it looks like it covers a lot. There's as I flick through, I'm seeing a lot of diagrams and things like that, which is great. I love a good diagram. So I am interested in actually giving that one a good read, and see what I can kind of take from it. From what I'm kind of flipping through, it doesn't look to be ridiculously Wiccan, which is what I love, because you guys know I'm not a Wiccan, I'm just a witch. Just a witch. I'm not Wiccan, and a lot of Cunningham's books and a lot of witchcraft books in general have a very strong Wiccan flavour, which I'm just not about, unfortunately. Just like this one, called Wicca by Scott Cunningham. And again, this obviously has a very strong Wiccan flavour. Basically goes through all of Cunningham's, all of Cunningham's, Wiccan ways. So I have flicked through this a little bit. I've dog tagged 2 pages of what resonates with me, and that's about it. So that's all for Cunningham. And I've got this one here, which is by Anne Mora. And it's Green Witchcraft number 3, the manual. I'm assuming that there's like 2 more in front of this book to do with Green Witchcraft. I'm not quite sure. They do go in different so it's like a workbook, so they go in different classes, so class 1, class 2, class 3 through to 8. Excuse me. I'm just really tired, guys. And flipping through again, there is a lot of information. A lot of things. I'm not sure. From just flicking through it, I can't really understand where it's going. But there are a lot of illustrations and diagrams as well. So that was about charging crystals with the elements. So lots of things. It might be interesting. I'm so sorry, guys. Once I start yawning, I just can't stop. Might be an interesting read. I'll definitely let you know how I go with this book. And the other one, which again is quite an old book, is this one, Hocus Pocus, Titania's Book of Spells. Now, the best way that I can kind of describe this book would be like a group of housewives, someone's brought over a book of spells and they're all going to kind of sit around and do an enchantment. That's the best way that I can kind of describe it. I can't see why these spells and these rituals in here wouldn't work. I mean, they all seem to be quite legit. But yeah, it looks to be very it looks to be quite folky, quite folk magic-y. Again, there's no particular religious flavour to them. Just spells and chants and charms. A lot of charms and things in this book. Do they start off with a little bit of information? Yeah, they give a little bit of information. It basically, it talks about getting your witchy supplies from the supermarket. So it is very much like a Desperate Housewives, spell book is what I'm kind of getting at. But it's pretty. It's, you know, velvet, and again, I haven't felt the need to, you know, do any of the spells from this book, but I have flicked through it and had a look at them, and there might be need for me to use, you know, one of them. But again, I would go through and kind of alter it to my own personal needs. So yeah, but this book is, again, quite old. I think it was published in... Yeah, 96. Again. Yeah. And it's had a few reprints since. This particular version was printed and bound in Verona, Italy, which is quite interesting. But yeah, so that's a little bit of a book haul slash review for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know if you have read any of these books, and what you think. And do let me know if you would like to see, you know, more in-depth reviews about any of the books that you've seen as well. So guys, as always, blessed be, have a great day, and I'll talk to you all later.